All right, we are live on YouTube. Welcome to Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli. Glad you could all join me here tonight for a very special show. I've got some great things to talk about here tonight, some great positive and uplifting things that will tremendously help you out if you've been struggling to find that one special person, or if you're with someone and you're wondering why it's not going the way you want it to go. There are many reasons for that. Before we get to all that, first of all, let me make sure that everything is rolling smoothly. Let me first of all make sure that the YouTube notification has gone out. Should be going out any second right now. Well, while we wait for that, let me check out the back end of YouTube and make sure that that is doing okay. And it is. And the YouTube notification just went out. All right. It is Wednesday, May 3rd, 2023, the day that this is happening live. But this will have tremendous replay value down the road. Tonight, I'm going to be discussing what makes my relationship with my girlfriend successful. Plus, let's talk about anything. One more time. What makes my relationship with my girlfriend successful? Plus, let's talk about anything. Let me just do a sound check here real quick. My lady's in the chat. She says, hey, babe, respectfully, maturely, and professionally. Dawn is in the house. Hey, Dawn. Hey, babe. How are you? While we wait for that, let me check out the back end of YouTube. Okay. Everything sounds and looks great. By the way, if you've been watching my past few Walking with Purpose live streams and you've noticed that the video quality has been horrible, that has nothing to do with my phone, has nothing to do with anything on my end or anything on YouTube's end. The bandwidth at the cell tower around Red Morton Park, where I've been doing my walks lately, has been overloaded. And oh my gosh, Rosie Wren, the queen of YouTube now, forever and always, with another $1.99 super chat. My inspiration is Eli. Oh, Rosie, I've got to just drop everything and give you a big round of applause. Well, I don't know why I'm your inspiration, Rosie, but I appreciate it. I'm honored. I feel honored to be your inspiration. I'm just trying to inspire as many people as possible to believe in themselves and to continue pushing forward to accomplish whatever it is that their hearts desire. And as goo goo gaga as that may sound, I honestly mean that. That's my purpose. That's why I've been doing this YouTube thing for the last 6 years, and the coaching thing as well. Thank you again for being here, Rosie. Thank you again for another super chat. You've donated quite a bit this month, and when my lady and I get a chance, we will come to your channel, now that you're monetized especially, and show you some love and bring some people over there. We've got to do a stream together, Rosie. I don't know if you're open to doing an interview. If you'd like to do an interview with me, if you want me to come on your channel and bring some people, then I can bring you on mine down the road. Let me know, and we can definitely get that going. I'm going to be doing a lot of interviews in the weeks and months ahead, and we are really pushing forward to turn things around out here on YouTube and social media in a more positive and enlightening way. So thank you again, Rosie, for the $1.99 super chat. Much appreciated. So again, we're going to be discussing what makes my relationship with my girlfriend successful. Plus, let's talk about anything. So here's how the show's going to go tonight. I plan on being on here for at least an hour. If there are people engaging and asking lots of questions regarding anything business or personal related or whatever they want to talk about, I'm willing to stay on as long as 2 hours. But it'll be a hard stop at 2 hours regardless. If there isn't a lot of engagement, I'll just, do the first part of the show talking about what makes my relationship with my lady successful. I also have a great Reddit posting to share regarding this topic because I always like to have some supporting or supportive content on top of what, I'm discussing here. But if we get, people, asking questions in the chat, I'll take a break and go into a second hour. All right. So let's go ahead and just start things off. We have 18 people here. Thank you so much for being here. Rosie Wren again with another $1.99 super chat. Thank you, Rosie. Big round of applause. I don't know what to say, Rosie. I really don't know what to say. I don't know, Rosie. You must have come into some money, or maybe you've been secretly rich. I'm just kidding, Rosie. I'm grateful and thankful. I do not expect this. I know what you've been through. I know the struggles that you've encountered, and God bless you, Rosie. I think you do believe in God, and if you don't, that's okay. I still have love for you. We still have love for you, but God bless you and your family. And I'm really proud of your, I'm really proud of your success and how you started turning things around. I never gave up on my channel thanks to you, Eli. Well, Rosie, Rosie, here's the thing. As much as I'd like to take credit, even though I'm a humble man, I'm not going to take credit. Even if I inspired you to keep going, you had to make that choice to keep going within yourself. And, I'll take a moment right now to mention something, about another creator that I wasn't going to mention, but I'll say it again because it makes sense in this case. Many of you know, Jamie, who's been removed from YouTube for circumvention, and he's still around. He's got some channels he's created, and he's back, at least for now. We'll see what happens. And I wish him the best. But, it was 6 years ago when I first met Jamie. I was the first one to bring him into all of this, into everything that he's involved with today. It was myself. I reached out to him. I wanted to collaborate with him. And he was monetized on his former channel called The Purple Pill. And what ended up happening was he started getting demonetized on all his videos, because back then, YouTube was taking a very strong stance against certain types of content, and his entire channel went from having all green icons, meaning that all the videos are fully monetized, to all yellow icons, which are now known as the not suitable for most advertisers. So he lost a lot of ad revenue. And he reached out to me and he said, dude, I'm just going to leave YouTube. I'm going to quit YouTube. I can't make any more money, blah, blah, blah. And I convinced him. I told him, this is a true story. This is a true story. Many people that know Jamie have heard this story, and it is true, right? He actually listened to me. I told him, hey, dude, let's do some live streams together, and let's work on some content together, and I will help you. And you know what? You've got your PayPal and other ways to receive, payment. You don't need ad revenue to be successful. And he stuck around. And while I haven't agreed with most of the types of content that he's created, the one thing I can admire about him, and I'll even say this despite, what he's done to me, he's kept going, he's kept moving forward, and he found a way to make it work. So, yeah, if you just believe in yourself and you keep moving forward, eventually you will get to where you want to get to. My lady respectfully, maturely, and professionally says, you are amazing, Rosie. Yes, absolutely. And Rosie Wren says, RMP, I showed your channel love. Excellent. We don't know if she's ever going to create content on that. Who knows? Maybe we will have her start her own channel and get a third channel monetized through the, Coach Eli coaching network of channels. I do consider my lady to be a coach. She does not want to be labeled a coach, at least at this point. But I have mad respect for my lady. She's been helping a lot of people out behind the scenes. And, she just has the biggest heart and soul. And I see the same thing in you, Rosie. So thank you very much for that. So anyway, it looks like the same person that was botting me yesterday is going to be botting me, which is totally fine. You can bot me every single day, and it doesn't matter. There are creators on this platform that have botted every one of their streams to make it appear like there are more people. But at the end, YouTube will show the true view count. Let's see. Rosie says, thanks. I'll be doing a SeaWorld stream this weekend, RMP. Great. Awesome. We look forward to it, Rosie. Let's collaborate on some stuff, okay? All right. So let me start off by talking about my relationship with my lady. She's not going to be joining me on the actual show tonight. If you're expecting her to be here, she's not going to be here. She's in the chat. And she's resting a bit. Her and I, are getting ready to meet up with her mother tomorrow. We're going to be driving a couple of hours to meet her mother roughly halfway to go have an early Mother's Day lunch. And even though Mother's Day is a few Sundays away, my lady's mother is going to be going out of town. And she's not going to be around, Mother's Day week. So we're going to be driving out tomorrow morning to meet her mother and spending some time with her. So I definitely look forward to that. I actually look forward to spending time with her, as she's going to be my future mother-in-law. I mean, one day my lady Donna and I will get married. And no, we haven't done the official proposal thing or the ring or anything. We're waiting for the right time. But one day we will do that. So I basically already consider her mother my mother-in-law, and she considers my mother her mother-in-law. So that is that. So that's part of, having a good relationship, and what makes your relationship work with your significant other is having a great relationship with the, in-laws, or, the parents of both sides. So that's something that I've always taken pride in, and my lady Dawn has taken pride in, is just having a great relationship with my family, and, me having a great relationship with her family. We've always taken pride in our relationships to, love each other's families. So that is that. But before I get over to this Reddit posting here and share more about what people are saying about this same topic here, what makes a relationship work, I've said this before and I'll say it again. Attraction is a must and not a choice. One more time. Attraction is a must and not a choice. And no matter what anyone says, this is just the plain truth, right? When you first meet someone, like if you meet someone through a dating app, dating site, or wherever you meet them, when you first lay eyes on someone, you're going to know within 3 seconds. The woman and the man will know within 3 seconds whether there's chemistry or not, whether there's a spark or not. And if that initial spark is not there from the very beginning, it's never going to be there at the level that it needs to be in order to, have a real, true, loving, sustainable relationship. Because what a lot of people don't realize is you can't base a relationship on sex. You can have sexual attraction. You can even have great sex, as a couple. But if your relationship is not sustainable beyond physical attraction and sexual desire and needs, it's going to be short-lived. That's why a lot of people have short-term relationships, right? They're looking to just kind of, get away from it all, not commit, but still go hang out with somebody that's cool to hang out with, that they're attracted to, and have some great sex, have some fun. But that's all it is, because there's nothing there beyond that. And I've always said the most important aspects of a relationship are the emotional and mental connection. And that's what my lady and I have. When we first met and laid eyes on each other, I immediately felt that mental and emotional connection, and she felt the same thing. Now, of course, we were physically attracted to each other, but it was beyond that, because you can have physical attraction for someone, and that's great, but you can be physically attracted to anyone. But when you're physically attracted to someone and you feel an emotional and mental bond, right, And also, my lady and I talked by phone for hours before we met. So we already kind of had an idea of how we were mentally and emotionally, if you're curious about that. So, we just felt that overall spark. And despite the fact that we've had some challenges and some interesting experiences along the way, we've always, felt love. And we've always felt that deep mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical connection all together. My lady says in the chat, last year I went whale watching in Monterey with my mom and aunt. Yeah, I remember that. We were already dating at that time. You had a great time there with your mother and your aunt. And I actually that was when we actually drove out to have lunch with your mom and your aunt, which is your mom's sister, right? And babe, if you're still around, isn't your mom going, back to visit your aunt, her sister in New York for Mother's Day? I believe that's why we're going to, have Mother's Day lunch with her, about a week and a half early, because of that, right? So that is that. But, another thing that's very, very important in making their relationship work is a constant flow of two-way communication. I've said this before, I'll say it again. In order for any friendship or relationship in this case to work, you must have a constant flow of two-way communication. You have to leave the lines of communication open. And if you do not have that constant flow of two-way communication, and if the lines of communication break down, you have nothing. There's nothing there. Okay? And one thing I've learned as a man is that, women communicate differently than men do. Women are run by their emotions, and men supposedly are supposed to, think about things logically before responding, right? Now, there are some men that are run by their emotions. That does happen to all men at times, but, there are men that completely run from their emotions all the time. And that, in my opinion, makes that man a man with more female energy, right, or feminine energy, right? But again, men and women communicate differently. And as a man, when you're younger, you don't understand that. But as you get older, you learn to understand that. You learn to be more patient. And you learn to understand that sometimes, when your lady's talking with you, all she wants you to do is listen. But the thing with men, when we love someone, we want to fix a woman's issues, right? We always want to take care of their issues. We want to protect our woman because, even though we're in a modern world of, women being liberated and feminism and all that, right? Men still to this day in relationships that truly care about their woman, are there to protect and provide and protect, right? And nowadays you have women saying, I want to work and I want to do my part and, I want to provide and I can take care of myself and I'm independent and all that. And that's all good. I respect my lady as an independent woman and I respect independent women. But what truly makes a man is being able to protect and provide for his lady. But nowadays, in order to make a relationship work, you have to learn to balance, old school traditional values with modern values in the modern woman, right? Okay. I'm not saying that, you should go completely one way or the other, but you should balance both, right? You want to respect women for having equal rights and you want to respect women that are working and are career oriented. But at the same time, hopefully you are dating a woman that has some traditional values or has traditional values in addition to, her independence and, providing through working, making money and doing other things that were once only known that men would do, right? My lady respectfully, maturely, and professionally, Dawn in the chat says, yes, she is. You are right, love. Okay, yeah, she's going back east to New York to visit her sister. That's great. That's such a lovely, lovely thing for your mother to do. So communication is extremely, extremely important in a relationship. And look, for a man, what defines us is our purpose. And in order for a relationship to work with a man, as I said, right, in order for a relationship to work for a man, he should seek out a woman that believes in him based on his purpose, right? And is willing to support his purpose naturally. When I first met my lady Dawn, and I told her, I'm a retired insurance broker, and I do life coaching, business and personal success coaching, and I'm really into personal development and all that. She fell in love with that. She goes, I love all that stuff. I love all that self-help stuff and the quotes and all that. And right then and there, I just knew. I knew she was going to be extremely supportive in helping me move my purpose and vision forward that, I want to do for the rest of my life. So that is very important to make a relationship work. As a man, if you're with a woman that doesn't support your purpose of what defines you as a man, then why would you want to be with that woman, right? And why would that woman want to be with that man? It just wouldn't work out. Nowadays, also, men have to understand that women want to have more of a purpose than just being a housewife or a baby machine or whatever. And I say that respectfully. I'm not trying to be, critical on that. But, women want to contribute, more than they were able to do or allowed to do in the past. And for a guy like me that was born in 1973 and growing up, I was living, between the second and third wave of feminism and women being liberated. So, I was raised with more traditional morals, values, and ethics and, traditional relationships. And, it's been, I'm not going to lie, it's been a little bit of a challenge, or quite a bit of a challenge to adapt to it, but I've learned to adapt to it as best as possible. And I'll tell you this, no matter what any woman says, in my opinion, there are women out there, including my lady. She's like, oh, you know what? I'm not a feminist. I don't believe in this and that and blah, blah, blah. And I respect that. But, every woman is technically a feminist. You have equal rights because of feminism. You're able to work and do things you weren't able to do in the past because of feminism. So, no matter what any woman says, hey, you know what? I'm more traditional, blah, 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 this and that. That's just, that's not the way it is. That's not the way it is anymore. And you have to learn to understand that, accept that, and adapt to it. It doesn't mean that you have to give up your masculinity. It doesn't mean that you have to be more submissive than dominant as a man. What it means is you got to get with a partner that's willing to meet you halfway, willing to meet you 50-50, right? And I mean seriously 50-50. The only other thing that, I want to say before I get to this Reddit posting, I've mentioned this before, but it's buried in a few videos, either on my main channel, Coach Eli, Elias, Melas, or, on this channel somewhere through a live stream. And, I heard I watched a video by, one of my favorite coaches and content creators, Dan Bacon. Coach Corey Wayne is my absolute favorite, and Dan Bacon is a close second. Dan Bacon is from Australia, and he creates great videos. He takes breaks every now and then, but he's back to creating new content, and I really love his stuff. Hey, GLM, Gabriella, Louise Martinez. Good evening, Coach Eli, RMP, Rosie, Nightbot. My lady, respectfully, maturely, and professionally, Dawn says, hey, GLM, welcome to the show, GLM. Yeah, we're being botted by, your buddy. More than likely, it's Mr. Jones. It's all good. It's all good. But um, Dan Bacon was saying that, in order for a woman to respect a man, a woman needs to be able to look up to the man. Even in the modern world, even modern women that are independent and making their own money and don't need a man to survive, right? In order for any women, including those types of women, to respect a man, they need to be able to look up to their man. If not, they get turned off. They can't trust your masculine core. And, when they sense that they're stronger than you, they'll dismiss you, because women still look up to a man to this day for their strength, physical strength, emotional self-control, and the ability to protect and provide and all of that, right? And if you display weakness to a woman in any way, shape, or form, especially initially, I mean, once you start to, date her for a while, you're going to have moments of weakness, and that happens. But initially, if you display weakness, you're going to be eliminated, right? And Dan Bacon in one video said that, it's not about you being overly dominant to your woman and her being overly submissive to you. It's about being as close to 50-50 as possible, with the exception of the man needs to be slightly in the one-up position, because if the man is not slightly in the one-up position and the woman can't look up to him, then there's going to be no sexual chemistry, and there's just going to be just no chemistry, period. She's not going to be able to respect the man, and it's not going to work. And what do I mean? Or what does he mean? And I've explained this before in my own words. As close to 50-50 as possible with the man slightly in the one-up position. What that means is, the woman needs to have 49.9% of the power, and the man needs to have 50.1% of the power. It's not, 60-40 in favor of the man. It's not 75-25 in favor of the man. It's basically like 50.1% man and 49.9% woman. It is as close to equal as possible. Again, with the man slightly in the one-up position. So that way the woman is still able to look up to him in this modern world and respect him, right? Again, if women can't look up to their man, then, it's just not going to work. It's basically showing us, it's basically a woman saying that, okay, you're not strong enough to be with me. It's weakness, right? Hold on one second. I thought my lady was saying something in the other room, but anyway. All right. So, I'm going to go over to the browser source here and go over this interesting Reddit posting regarding what I've been talking about, but we're going to hear from other people. So let's switch on over to the browser source. And interestingly enough, this is from the subreddit r/long distance, which is a subreddit for and about long distance relationships. And I mean, what they shared here in the comments section. I've read a lot of these comments, before going live. This also holds true for more local relationships as well. But interestingly enough, the last 4 women I've dated lived an hour to an hour and a half away from me. My ex Dawn lived almost an hour and a half away from me, like an hour and 20 minutes away from me. And so, I would consider that a long distance relationship. It's not a horrifically long distance relationship because you can drive that back and forth in a day, but it's still a 2 to 3 hour round trip. So let's get to this posting here. The title is People with Successful Relationships. What are your tips and secrets? Failed relationships. What is the most important lesson that you learned? Very, very interesting. One more time. People with successful relationships, what are your tips and secrets? Failed relationships, what is the most important lesson that you learned? RJ Sandifer's in the house. Hey, RJ. RJ Sandifer in the chat. And sorry I started a bit late, RJ, and thank you for still being here. He says, at Coach Eli, 2 authentic live streams. Are men becoming more beta? Absolutely. I don't think they're becoming beta. I think they just are beta. The lack of experience, the lack of having a good, strong father figure, and a loving, caring, and nurturing mother figure. The majority of issues that men have nowadays, the millennials and the Gen Zers, that are beta, it's due to the way they were raised, their lack of parenting, their lack of masculinity in their father, and their lack of femininity in their mother. A lot of, women nowadays are the provider in the household, and they're exuding more masculine energy than feminine energy, and that confuses a little boy, right? And when the father's acting more like the woman and exuding more feminine energy than masculine energy, it further confuses the little boy. So, when they go out to, meet women, they don't exude masculinity, and women know exactly what they're looking for at all ages. They're looking for a good man that's strong, but sweet as well. Like, be a man, be strong, and be confident, right? But also be cool and down to earth, right? Don't be an arrogant, pompous ass, but don't be a big freaking sissy either, Be right down the middle. I like to call it cocky, playful, funny, Nothing wrong with being a little cocky. It's just cocky and playful, and that's it, But again, don't be a jerk or an arrogant, pompous ass, but also don't be a walking doormat sissy, where you comply with every single thing that a woman asks you. If you don't want to do something, tell them, hey, you know what? Nah, let's not do this. Or, just, be yourself, right? Be a man. So I don't think men are becoming more beta. I think there are more beta males in the modern world due to the lack of parenting over the last, 20 to 30 years or 40 years. Or 50 years, RJ. And a lot of that has to do probably with women's lib and women working, and a lot of women, being the head of household. And nothing wrong with that. I'm not trying to take that away from women. I'm just saying that it really confuses young men. That's what's happened. A lot of guys in the former MGTOW community I was involved in, they were saying, yeah, women are basically taking over the world. Women are becoming men and men are becoming women. And to a certain extent, I can kind of agree with that. But, I'm out here to kind of level it off and get men and women to understand each other, even in this modern world. So don't treat women like dogs, guys. Well, that's true. But also don't let women treat you guys like dogs or like an ATM, right? It works both ways, RJ. Men shouldn't treat women bad, but women should also not take advantage of men that are inexperienced, right? It's the beta males typically, women take advantage of, because the beta males, a lot of them make good money, and women will get with them to extract their resources for a while. And once they extract everything they can get, then they're gone, right? So that's why I do what I do here. I try to help men and women better understand each other and better learn what they're up against in this crazy modern world we all live in, right? All right. So, excuse me. I'm observing that this subreddit is becoming a little bit negative day by day. So I thought that we should have a look of both sides. It should be at both sides, but that's okay. Who's counting grammar here, right? Excuse me a second here. These allergies. All right. Sorry about that. If there are any successful people around, I hope you guys post your point of view about what makes a relationship healthy and successful. Lessons you learned from a previous failed relationship, etc. I hope this subreddit focuses on improvement rather than spreading negativity. You know what? Your grammar is horrible, but who's counting that? But your message means well. So big round of applause for the original poster. Big round of applause. All right. 71 comments. Let's try to get through 10 or 20 of them. Now, folks, here's the thing. We're at 35 minutes. I'm going to get through as many of these questions or as many of these comments here over the next 25 minutes. If you folks have your own questions regarding this topic here or anything else you want to talk about, get them in the chat. If there isn't a lot of engagement in the chat, I will end the show in 25 minutes. If not, or if there is a lot of engagement, I will take a break and go one more hour afterwards. All right. Choose the right partner. So many people try to put square pegs in round holes and end up miserable with each other. Yeah, I know quite a bunch of people like that. Spend time together. Don't push a relationship forward just because it feels good. Make sure you're compatible. Completely agree with that. I completely agree with that. You know, I've known many, many people in my life from my younger days to my current days. Many, many people that are still with someone today and they're just miserable. And, you know, there are people that are together still because they have kids or they own property together or, you know, for whatever reason, right? And you got to understand that staying together when you're not compatible for whatever reason is not a good reason. And if you have kids, it will affect your kids. Most importantly, it's going to affect you from being you, right? So why would you want to do that to yourself, right? You got to choose the right partner. You have to understand that attraction is a must and not a choice. And if it's not fully there from the very beginning, it's never going to be there. And if it's there from the very beginning, you know, you gotta maintain it. You gotta keep doing your part, both of you, to, you know, keep it moving forward, right? Just like, you know, plants, they need water to keep growing. If not, they die, right? A relationship needs to be watered every day, right? Right? Both of you need to water each other every day as a figure of speech, right? What are key factors of compatibility? Well, I'll say this before I go and read more. Attraction is a must and not a choice. Okay? And it goes beyond physical attraction. Yes, you have to feel that physical attraction right away, but it has to go beyond that. It has to be mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically there. All four of those have to be there. Right? All right. So my now wife and I met in America. Then about 6 months in, she moved back to Denmark, and we had to do distance for a year. We made it, needless to say, and I definitely have some thoughts about how we work. Well, you're a much better man than me because, first of all, if I was dating someone and they ended up moving away thousands of miles for many, many months or even a year, and you had to do a long distance thing like that, I certainly could not do that. But this is a long distance, you know, relationship forum. So let's read more here. Number one, we had a rule that we always had to know the next time we would see each other. So whenever I was over to visit, we'd make sure I booked a ticket for the next time I'd see her. This was important as we didn't have those LOL, not sure when we'll see each other next type moments. Edit. Should note that I always had to visit her because the U.S. travel ban meant that she couldn't come to America to see me. Oh, yeah, I remember that. Okay, so this was like probably during the COVID time, right? Number 2, we were pretty comfortable with the idea that she'd be the one to reach out to me typically. Obviously, communication is insanely important, but I think being comfortable with how the other communicated and finding a rhythm really helped. I've always said this and I'll say it again. Guys, always let the woman come to you. The woman needs to always be chasing you. From the moment that you start dating her for the rest of your life that you're with her. The moment you start chasing her, it's over. It's over, right? I don't chase my woman. I don't beg her to do anything. I just talk with her. I communicate with her, right? And typically, before we moved in together, typically she would reach out to me first. Hi, babe. How you doing? How's your day going? Right? That's exactly what you want, right? Because if a woman is reaching out to you and chasing you, she's not dumping you, right? And if she's not into you, she's not going to reach out to you, right? So if she's not reaching out to you, she's not into you, why would you reach out to her, right? That's what guys need to learn. So he says here, we were pretty comfortable with the idea that she'd be the one to reach out to me typically. That's how it should always be, dude. Let the woman chase. There are women out there saying, oh, well, I don't chase men. Men need to chase me. Well, try it out and see how it works. Or how's that worked for you? Not well at all, right? Number 3, we made sure that we had our own lives aside from being a distance relationship. For us, this helped us avoid OMG, I missed you mode all the time, which can be exhausting. How many people did each of you bang behind each other's backs when you weren't around each other? And would you tell each other that if you did, right? That's what I'd be curious to know. If you're that far apart for months at a time, I mean, wow. We would try to watch movies or find pop culture stuff that we could watch together. It wasn't always consistent, but there was at least an effort there. Honestly, I think the biggest thing is that we are both stubborn AF and knew that we loved each other, which helped us get through it. Well, if you have love for each other and you have a mental and emotional bond, which it sounds like you have, right? Because you can get sex anywhere. Either one of you could get sex anywhere, right? And you wouldn't need to, wait around for each other to figure out where you're going to live, while you're, thousands of miles apart, right? So if you have that mental, emotional, and spiritual connection like my lady and I have, right? And it sounds like you both have big hearts and souls like my lady and I have, then I get it. That's how you made it. Your point with number 2 is really reassuring. I'm still in this long-distance relationship sub since it's quite nice advice about relationships. Yeah, I liked it too, beyond the LDR thing. LDR is long-distance relationship. We'll call it that from this point on the show. I'm typically one to be the more active texter. So I'm trying to figure out how to be secure in my communication with my current partner or any future partner, if any. I can't tell if this is a man or a woman writing it, but I think it's a man that's writing it. And if you're saying I'm trying to figure out how to be secure in my communication with my current partner, then you're insecure. You just got to be yourself, right? Like if she's really into you, she'll reach out to you first, 70 to 80% of the time. Now you can look. It doesn't make you a beta male, or desperate if you reach out to your woman every now and then first. But if you are reaching out to her all the time and she never reaches out to you first, it's just not going to work, right? You got to be secure within yourself. If you reach out to her once and you don't hear back from her, assume it's done. And never, ever try to double text her or double reach out to her, especially early on, if she doesn't get back to you. It just means it's not working. Yeah, I mean, every couple is going to be different communication-wise. The key is just ensuring that you're comfortable with the communication level and listening to the other person if there are differences. Hey, babe, how are you doing? My lady's passing by in the studio room here. All right, let's check out the chat here real quick. Nothing going on in the chat? All right. And then there was a comment that was removed. Let's scroll down a bit more. Love is not enough. Trust and honesty are a huge part of it, of any relationships. really, but it's even more transparent in a long distance relationship. I personally do not recommend dating anyone that lives more than, I'd say, 2 hours away. Even a 2 hour distance, you can drive round trip in a given day. It'll get tiring, but it's doable for a little while. My lady and I, we went back and forth from each other's places for a year before we moved in together. Now, you also got to, get to know the person and see if you want to live together. And that typically is going to take anywhere from like 9 months to a year, right? You don't want to push it too soon. Even in most cases, 6, 7 months is too soon. I've heard of people moving in, 6 months after they started dating and it didn't work out. It's because you rushed it. You moved too fast, right? Right? You needed to give it a little more time to see if you were compatible. Instead of, moving in, rushing in to move in together and then figuring out you're not compatible. Now you both got to move and you're on a lease or whatever, right? It just, becomes more of a pain in the ass. Hey, baby.
Hi there.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good.
Good show going on.
I appreciate it.
It.
Thank you so much, honey. It's not going to be on that much longer.
Great.
Yeah.
All right. Carry on.
Thank you. Carry on, soldier. Yeah, she supports, my purpose. She's happy. She says, good show. You want your woman to be your biggest cheerleader. My woman is my biggest cheerleader. She supports me. Yeah, she kicks my ass at times too. And I do the same thing. But we do it in a loving way. And that's, that's also, part of a good relationship is kicking each other's butts in a loving and caring way. Yeah, so, if you truly love someone, you're going to trust them and be honest with them. So when this person says love is not enough, true love includes everything. It includes trust, honesty, faith, hope, everything, right? Spending time together and seeing each other as often as possible. Any unbalance in the relationship or one-sidedness can cause problems. A lot of people say if you spend too much time together, it's not good, right? That's definitely not true. Okay. The people that say that have dealt with the wrong people, meaning that, a lot of women, if they feel like, you're asking too much of their time and you want to spend all the time with them, right? They're just not into you. Because here's the thing. The truth of the matter is, guys, if a woman is really into you, if the attraction, is completely there, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, if she's truly, truly into you, she's going to want to spend as much time with you as possible. She will want to spend every minute with you, right? My woman couldn't wait to move in with me because she loves spending time with me, right? And so, and now that we've been living together for, I think it's been a little over 6 months now that we've been living together, pretty close to it. Yeah, I mean, we're used to living together. We've gotten used to each other's ways. And, to be quite honest with you, like, if she wasn't here, like, I would miss her. She would miss me. And there's nothing wrong with a man missing his woman or a woman missing, her man, right? Nothing wrong with that, right? Now, we also do give each other space throughout the days. I mean, I go do my walks and I do, my YouTube stuff and other things that don't involve her, and she does other things that don't involve me. But for the most part, we're pretty involved in each other's lives, and nothing wrong with that as long as you truly love each other. And she doesn't suffocate me. I don't suffocate her. We don't put pressure on each other. It's just a natural flowing relationship. Sorry for the interruption, guys. Says respectfully, maturely, and professionally. Baby, no interruption. Thank you for that. All right. There's some amazing answers in this thread already, but I thought I would share what works for my wife and I since we started dating November 2019. We're 10K apart and doing the K1. So you're 10,000 kilometers apart. So that's probably about 7,000 miles across the seas or the sea. Number one, clear and open communication to help grow out understanding of each other. We learned about each other's families and traumas and discussed how we both looked at the world. That is extremely important there. You got to learn about the good and the bad, and you have to accept the good and the bad. And look, everyone has issues. Everyone has been through shit. There's no perfect person on the planet, right? Okay. My lady had been through a lot when I met her. And maybe most people would have, seen what she's going through or heard what she's going through. And maybe most or some would have run away. I didn't run away because I saw how big her heart and soul is, how it was and still is. And I know it will always be, right? And I had other options. And she had other options too. We both had other options. But what made me fall for her, what made me really just feel it for her was her big heart and soul. I've never met any woman that looked at me the way she looked at me the first time that we met. I've never met any woman that was so passionate about caring for other people like I've been all my life. My lady Dawn and I, at times, or most of the time, and this is a fault of ours, maybe it's not a bad fault, but it's still a fault. At times, we care more about other people than ourselves. Like, we put other people first because we don't want to be selfish. We want to be so giving and loving. That's the way that we were born and raised to be. But I've learned to take care of myself first. And my lady Dawn, she's learning that. Learned, enough, but she's still learning about that. But because that's the type of person she is, it makes it real easy to love her. It makes it real easy. It made it real easy to pick her out of the crowd. She stood out, right? So yeah, you need to learn about each other's families and traumas, and you have to talk about it, right? Why would you want to be with a partner that doesn't want to hear what you've been through, right? If you can't talk about that stuff with someone that you're dating, if you can't talk about anything with someone you're dating or you're going to marry or whatever, then why be with them, right? Okay. And discussed how we both looked at the world. Then we started to do weekly book talks to grow our relationship. We decided a chapter a week was a system we could adhere to, and have done it for 2 years now. Overall, we want our future to look bright. To do this, we've made our own rules to create an environment of growth, excitement, and open discussion. Every day is a new journey. Great. Cool. If it works for you, it works for you. Great communication. Number 2, hide nothing and reveal everything. One more time. Let me repeat that. Hide nothing and reveal everything. Borrowing from above. Our happiness is whatever we want it to be. One more time. Borrowing from above. Our happiness is whatever we want it to be. Big round of applause! I can't even... Where am I? All right, there we are. There we are. I heard my lady say, "Oh God," in the other room. I don't know why. Did somebody try to come into the channel here? Hey, Oscar Garcia, how you doing? Yeah, you were around last year, weren't you? Are you the same Oscar that's been around? How you doing, man? Welcome to the show. Great to see you here, man. Number 3, stay humble and be patient. Nothing in life is certain except death, taxes, etc. Make your time count as much as you can with your partner and activities. Your biggest critic at the end of the day will be you. One more time, stay humble and be patient. Two of the most difficult things to do, especially as a man, but even as a woman too. The more humble you are, the more patient you are, especially guys, one of the key things that'll make you successful with women is being patient. And part of being patient makes you come off less needy or not needy at all. Like if women sniff out neediness when you're first getting to know them, they'll be gone, right? If you're humble and you're patient, you have a better chance of making it work or getting a chance with that woman. Nothing in life is certain except death, taxes, etc. Make your time count as much as you can with your partner and activities. Go on dates, have fun, hang out, have fun, hook up, and see where it goes. That's exactly what Don and I did. We hung out, we had fun, we hooked up, and yeah, there were a bunch of interesting experiences. I'm not going to lie. She won't lie either. We've talked about them before. But even all of those interesting experiences that we had, unexpected, and some of them were pretty traumatic, it bonded us closer together. It bonded us closer together. And finally, again, your biggest critic at the end of the day will be you. Yeah. You're your own worst enemy. You're your own worst critic. You're in control of your own life. Whatever happens to you is up to you. Right? Hope this helps. Stay strong, couples. My wife and I believe everyone here is so brave and incredible. Stay with it. It takes a lot of bravery and strength, and it takes balls and guts to come out here and share your stories on Reddit, YouTube, or wherever. I respect that. We're at 56 minutes. Yes, it's me. Long time no see. Welcome back, bro. I'm very humble and patient. Well, I actually believe that about you, GLM. I just think that you had a persona out here on YouTube to just have fun. We've gotten to know you a lot better, and it's nice to hear that. So thank you. All right. Since we don't have a lot of questions in the chat, I'm going to read one more section here, then go off the air. We are at 57 minutes. Number 1, at least one call a day. My partner and I talk on the phone every night for 2 to 3 hours because that's what works for us. Yeah. That is, you know what? Even if you're in a semi-long distance relationship, like I was with Dawn before we moved in together, we talked by phone for an hour or two, or even longer every night. And she didn't feel forced to talk with me that long. I didn't feel forced to talk with her that long. I just enjoy her, right? And I would do my YouTube stuff, do my Walking with Purpose streams back in those days, and maybe do an in-studio show. And then once I was done, I would call her before she would go to bed, and we would talk. And then that's what worked for us. I think it is very important. If you're dating someone that lives, I'd say, more than a half an hour away, but especially if they live an hour away or 2 hours away, which is it's still a long distance relationship, but it's a shorter long distance relationship, right? You're in, let's say you see them on the weekends, right? Some women have weekends off. Some women that may work a retail job or a job that, is open on the weekends, they may have weekdays off. So basically, if you're only seeing your partner, 2 days a week initially while you're getting to know them before you decide to take the next step, moving in or getting married or whatever, okay? In between those times, you should be talking with them every day by phone, at least 30 to 60 minutes. Because If you're not, then you're really not into each other. A woman that's into a guy is not going to have a problem talking to him by phone 30 to 60 minutes or longer every day. And a guy that's into his woman is going to feel the same way. But because you live a distance away and you can't see each other 5 days a week, until you see each other being on the phone or video chatting or however you guys want to do it. I prefer the phone, the old school phone. I don't like video chatting with somebody. I do video for work. So when I'm done with these shows, I dress down. I look crappy because I'm relaxed, and I don't do up my beard or anything. I'm not saying I look like crap, but I just want to be relaxed and not have to worry about looking overly good. So I like the old school phone. And so just talk on the phone. And then, what I used to do, with Dawn and exes that lived an hour or so away, and we only saw each other a couple days a week, in between those 5 days, we'd start making plans, the first day after, we parted ways. And we would make the plans, and then every day we would anticipate seeing each other. We would talk about that as part of our conversation. And anticipation is also a great thing. Anticipation, when the both of you really, really, truly love each other, you're going to be looking forward to seeing each other. Number 2, we treat loving each other like a competition. We treat loving each other like a competition, but you have to remember not to be toxic about it. We're constantly finding new ways to express our love for each other. I don't know if I would treat loving each other like a competition. If you're doing it in a loving and playful way as a joke, maybe I understand that. My lady would say, I love you. I would say, I love you. She'd say, I love you more. And I'd say, I love you more. Okay, I get it. If it's that kind of playful banter competition, then that's cool. But besides that, you really shouldn't be competing against each other. You should, be collaborating, coming together as one. Number 3, if possible, make an effort to meet at least once early into the relationship. We were friends for about 7 months before we started dating. That's a big mistake, dude. Big. Don't ever do that. And when we met in person, we were able to become official, and it was very special. Well, here's the thing. If you're talking with somebody that lives a long distance, and the only reason why you haven't met them in 7 months is because of that distance, I can understand that. But if they live a lot closer, like, 30 to 60 miles away, or, an hour away, or half an hour away, or up to 2 hours away, if you wait 7 months to meet them, that's not going to fly. And in all honesty, yes, when you start dating someone, your woman becomes your best friend, but you don't want to be looked at as a friend, because then you're friend zone. Okay? You never, ever, ever want to be seen by your woman as a friend, or we were friends before we got serious. No. Women know right away if they're going to be ever into you or not, right? If they see you as a friend at any point, that's a demise, in my opinion. We were able to become official, and it was very special. I'm curious to see how long this relationship will last here. Have them get on a call and meet your best friends. This is number 4. And ask to meet their best friends. It's always important to see what kind of people your partner chooses to surround themselves with. I wouldn't do that. You're now forcing this person to do something they may not want to do. Dude, your job as a man is to hang out, have fun, and hook up. You set a date, right? You never, ever push it. You wait for the woman to do that. When I was dating Dawn early on, Dawn wanted me to meet her family and her brothers and all that. I didn't ask her. I wanted to. I mean, I was like, okay, yeah, one day I hope to meet them if this goes somewhere, right? But that's the attitude as a man you have to have. Let the woman lead that part. All you got to do is set up a date, hang out with her, have fun with her, hook up, and that's it. And if she's enjoying your time, then she will start to open up more options. Hey, I'd love for you to meet my mother. And if a woman is saying, I'd love for you to meet my mother or my family, then she's into you. Just go at her pace. Because if it goes well with her mother, next thing you know, you'll meet her brothers, her sisters, her father, her friends. It'll all just happen. But now you're like, it seems like you're just trying to push this, right? You're doing too much, bro. Too much. Number 5, during every argument, remember that even though it feels like you're on two separate sides, you're actually both on the same side. Well, that is true. But I don't argue women. I don't argue women at all. I'm not saying that, when Don and I talk, or in past relationships when I've talked with the woman I was dating at the time, that, we didn't get a little loud every now and then, but I didn't consider that arguing. I was just like responding, right? And sometimes, women, they're emotional. They have their moments, and they're going to get a little loud because that's just their emotions, right? And then sometimes you respond at the same level, unknowingly. But you gotta, once you realize that's happening, you gotta just back off and just not argue. Never argue a woman. There's no point. There's no point. And quite honestly, it's not even worth it to argue anyone over anything. It's better to discuss things and talk things out. If things don't work out, just walk away. Same thing with a job. Same thing, right? Fighting for your love. Sorry, you're actually both on the same side fighting for your love. Take 10 to 30 minutes, breathe, get a glass of water, and then you can communicate with an open mind. Yeah, sometimes, if things are getting hot and it could lead to an argument, you both should just walk away from each other for 20 to 30 minutes or 10 to 30 minutes, like this person says here. If you're living together, like my lady and I, there have been times where, hey, she needed some space, I needed some space, and I'd come into the office and do something else, or go into the bedroom, and she was in the living room, and 20 to 30 minutes later, we calmed down, we relaxed, and we were able to talk about what we couldn't talk about before that time. It just happens. So yeah, take 10 to 30 minutes, breathe, get a glass of water, and then you can communicate with an open mind. Absolutely. Folks, get your final questions, comments, concerns in the chat. We're going to be going off the air in just a few minutes here. We're at 1 hour and 7 minutes. Let me see. Yeah, yeah, babe. I know you. I think you accidentally banned admirals for life. They didn't say anything that was ban worthy, so I'm going to unban them. They said, "Would you move across the country for a woman you've been dating across the country if you have visited her a few times and it was amazing?" Me personally, I would never, ever, ever date anyone that lives further than probably 100 miles away. Yeah? What's that? Hold on a second. So, Admirals for Life, the reason why my lady initially banned you is because your channel is new. But I know you also commented, I believe, you commented on one of the videos here, and you mentioned that you let me go and read that here just so I can clarify this. Yeah, give me 1 second here. Did the comment get deleted now because of the banning? Yeah, I cannot see your comment that you made earlier anymore. Maybe it's because when my lady banned you, I know you were saying that you used to be a part of the drama and you withdrew from the drama, and you haven't really said anything that's ban worthy. So, we'll let you stick around, and maybe you can share a little bit more regarding that in the chat before we go off the air. But yeah. My apologies for that. And no, my lady was doing the right thing. Brand new channel. We get trolled a lot here, and she just wants to help keep it clean. So, all right. Number 6. Communicate. Yeah, that's the biggest one. That's what I was talking about at the beginning of the show. Communicate. It is so important to take time to know what you want to say. Well, you got to get to the point of where you just naturally know how to respond in the moment on the fly. I, in the past, have said some pretty hurtful things to past partners because I didn't take the time to organize my thoughts. Well, no, you were also less experienced. We've all been there. As you get older, you get better at learning how to handle yourself with people in general, including your spouse, right? Recognize why you feel upset and then try to communicate those feelings without you statements. Don't say you did this and I'm upset. Say I'm upset because I feel like with this, you're using less of an accusatory tone and it makes arguments smoother. You shouldn't argue and you shouldn't accuse. You should always discuss. My approach, as I've gotten older and I've learned how to better communicate with people, including any woman that I've dated or the one I'm dating now and spending the rest of my life with, Dawn, I've learned to approach things from the standpoint of, hey, babe, can we talk about something? I'm just concerned about something. Right? And in most cases, the woman will listen and will be fine. My lady Dawn is too smart. And she's been through so much. She has so much experience that even if I take the most sweetest, kindest, approach to this, right? She's so smart. She automatically knows like there's something that's bothering me or something, right? And there is, but I'm trying to approach it in a way where it's not going to, come off hurtful, and I'm not trying to hurt her. It's just, I'm trying to communicate it, effectively, without causing any issues. Now, most women, I'm not saying that, most women aren't as smart as my lady, but my lady's very experienced. She's been through a lot, and her intuition is through the roof. So is mine. So, I've had to learn how to better communicate with her, and I'm still learning that. And we still have our moments every now and then because of that. But yeah, never use an accusatory tone and never argue. And I think when you say it makes arguments smoother, I think you should say, it makes discussing things it makes our communication smoother. That's a better way to put it. Just try to learn from your partner as much as you can. Using the Chrome extension Teleparty is great because you can watch movies together without live streaming to them on Discord. Like, I don't understand. I saw this on YouTube years ago with some people that, were just hanging out online and they lived clear across the country or the world from each other, they'd sit there and watch movies together. And I'm like, I just could never do that. That's why I could never be in a super long distance relationship. My honest opinion is to never ever date someone that lives more than 100 miles away from you. It's just going to be much more difficult to make it work. There's going to be a lot more red tape to cut through, right? And yeah, it's just going to be a lot more difficult, you know. Now, I'm not saying it hasn't worked. I'm not saying it hasn't worked and it can't work, but it's just going to be much more difficult. Or you could try finding a Discord server with mutual interests and have a little group hang with your partner. I guess that's what the young kids are doing nowadays. They're, doing video chats and watching movies over the internet together and this and that. Or people are having like long distance relationships that really never go anywhere. You know what? Meet someone as local to you as possible, 100 miles or less. Before the internet came out, we were limited to meeting people within our particular city or maybe our county at best, right? Within a 5 to 10 mile radius. Okay? Try to keep it to that if you can. If not, and you use online dating, you may have to expand your, you may have to expand your radius to 50 miles. Try that. If you don't find someone, go up to 100 miles, but never, ever go past 100 miles, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. Anyway, Admirals for Life says, I'm in Wisconsin and she is in Palm Springs. We have met in Las Vegas and have just been talking since, so I was wanting to get an opinion on it. Thanks. Well, where did you meet? There is a 1 minute delay. I'll share my opinion. I just need a little more information. Did you meet online through a dating app, or how did you both meet? And have you met in person already? Have you been intimate together? Have you gone on dates together? Let's see. Oh, you said if you visited her a few times and it was amazing. Okay, sorry, you already mentioned that. So you probably got together with her. She's probably very attractive. She's probably attracted to you. Maybe you had some great sex. How's the communication been since that time? Do you talk daily? Do you talk for at least 30 to 60 minutes each night before you go to bed? If the answer is no, then I'd move on. Because any woman that's really, really super into you is going to want to see you all the time. And if she can't see you all the time due to distance, she's going to want to talk with you by phone at least an hour, half an hour to an hour each night until you can see each other again. And she's going to try to push maybe moving closer to each other to make it work. So let me know about that before I go off the air here. And then we can talk more about it maybe on my next show. The next show I'm going to do while I wait for your response, Admirals for Life, isn't going to be until Friday afternoon or evening when I do a Walking with Purpose stream. Again, tomorrow, no shows, no content from me on either channel. My lady and I are going to be heading out to have lunch with her mother as an early Mother's Day lunch meetup, since her mother's going to be out of town during Mother's Day weekend. All right, folks, get your final questions, comments, concerns in the chat. Just waiting for Admirals for Life to respond, and then we're going to be going off the air. Back to full screen. There we go. Well, I originally met her in Las Vegas at Top Golf randomly, and yes, we talk every night and FaceTime. That's great. Now, who initiates calling? Does she reach out to you most of the time or all the time, or do you reach out to her? I was with her for Christmas and New Year's. Okay. One more thing, like, who initiates reaching out to the other person every day? Is it more her or more you? Because if it's more her doing it, then she's really into you, right? And if she's really into you and you're into her, I would talk with her and say, yeah, we're fairly new, and I really like what we have, and this feels great, and I'd like to give this a chance, but unless we are closer to each other, realistically, how is this going to work? I really want it to work. I enjoy spending time with you, but what do you think we should do? I'd ask her. I would ask her, what is she open to? Right? You got to get down to business. You got to get to the point, because if not, you're wasting each other's time, right? If she's really into you and you're really into her, if she's really into you, she'll be willing to take a chance. You basically got to put it out there and have the balls and say, I like you. I enjoy what we have, but we live so far away from each other. I don't see how this can work unless we're closer to each other. What do you think? Both of us. Okay, so you both initiate? Yeah, and something early on, it's always best. I'm sure you've heard of Coach Corey Wayne. He says this all the time. It's always best for the woman to do 70 to 80% of all calling, texting, and pursuing. So if it's 50-50, at some point it's going to get old to her, right? Women need to feel like they're in a love story, and they need to feel like it's more their idea than your idea. I call her, she calls me, and she wants me to come to her since she has a home. I have a studio apartment here. She owns a home. Okay. Well, I mean, if she owns a home and you're willing to move over there and give it a shot, that's up to you. But you have to also look at this. If you move in with her, it's her home, right? And you're paying half the rent, it's going to be equity going in her pocket, but you're paying rent anyway, so that doesn't matter. But also, you have to understand, if it doesn't work out, what happens from there? Where do you go from there? Do you go back to where you're at now? Is it going to be feasible? What's it going to cost you? What position will it put you in if it doesn't work out? You got to look at it that way. It's a risk, bro. It's a risk. Love is a risk. This is a huge risk, right? If she lived more local to you, like within an hour or so, you can drive back and forth, you would have more time to get to know her. But I get the position you're in. I mean, it's a chance, bro. But how much do you love her? How much does she love you? Okay? And for me, as I've gotten older, I've learned how to shit test women. Women shit test men. I've learned how to shit test women. And the way that you shit test her, in my opinion, is from this point on, don't reach out to her. Let her reach out to you first every time. See what she does. You want to test to see how much she loves you? From this point on tonight, do not reach out to her tomorrow. Do not reach out to her the next day. Do not respond to her texts or call her until she texts you first or calls you first. Right? And I say this not to play games, but to really test to see how into you she's in. Because if she's into you, she will reach out to you first every single time, every day. When she hasn't heard from you, she'll miss you. You understand what I'm saying? All right, time to wrap this up. We are at 1 hour and 24 minutes. Again, folks, tomorrow my lady and I are going to be heading out of town to visit with her mother. I'm seeing some activity on my camera. Oh, nothing wrong, just a car passing by. And, well, hang on a second. Admirals for life. Yeah, you are right. That's why I am like, yes, but I'm nervous for sure. Test her, bro. You got to test her. You got to shit test her. Women shit test men. You got to shit test women. You gotta basically, from this point on, say to yourself, okay, I'm not going to call her or text her tonight before bed or tomorrow. Go silent, right? Go silent until she reaches out to you. From this point on, she needs to be the first one to reach out to you every single day for the next 7 to 14 days or 30 days or whatever, right? Would you go if you were me? No, I wouldn't. I would never, ever, ever date anyone that lives more than 100 miles away. Like I was saying earlier. I love where I live. I have family here. I have friends here. I have everything here. I would not. But I'm not you. You have to make that choice for yourself. But as far as myself, no, I would not. I would not. But again, dude, just because everything's fun right now, it's new, you're attracted to each other, maybe the sex is great and all that, it doesn't mean it's going to be that way in 3 months or 6 months. You haven't been together long enough, but you live so far apart that it's not feasible to continue investing energy and time into each other, even by phone, unless you take that chance and spend more time together, right? I get it, man. I get it. Yeah, it's a big risk in my opinion. It's not one that I'd be willing to take, even at this point in my life with 49, almost 50 years of experience. All right, folks, we'll talk more about this on Friday when I do a walking stream. Have a good one. Take care. And as always, be good to each other.